yesterday. Graziano, take us through it, starting in Miami.
Miami Dolphins have a new head coach. His name is Jeff Hafley. He has spent the last 2 years as the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. He does have head coaching experience, but it was in college with Boston College, specifically prior to that Packers job. Hafley getting a 5-year deal to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, who just hired John Eric Sullivan from the Packers last week to be their GM and have a lot of interesting offseason decisions to make. The Tennessee Titans have a new head coach as well, finalizing a deal to hire former Jets head coach and current 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh as their next head coach. This news broke overnight after the college game ended, and they are working toward finalizing a deal today. Saleh and Matt Nagy were the final two candidates. They ended up picking Saleh after having, obviously, a good interview with him yesterday. And the day started with surprising news out of Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills firing longtime head coach Sean McDermott after 9 seasons with the team. McDermott making the playoffs in 8 of those 9 seasons, but never advancing to the Super Bowl in spite of having quarterback Josh Allen. And obviously the Bills have made the decision to move forward with someone different at head coach in the hopes that they can find someone to elevate them to those heights.
That was an announcement that came during our show. Shefty broke the news during our show yesterday, and so we reacted to that. News that came not long thereafter when the Bills announced it was that they have elevated their general manager, Brandon Beane, who now is basically in total control of everything and will hire the coach and gained power, basically got a promotion out of all of this. And I personally found that puzzling because I thought there were a lot of mistakes made on that side of it there. But that surprised me. So one way or another, reaction to McDermott being out, reaction to the way they've now restructured and how it goes from here.
Shocked by both, in all honesty. I didn't think that either one, I didn't think that McDermott would be fired, and I definitely didn't think Beane would be elevated through this firing. And so when you look at McDermott, I understand the frustration, right? You don't get a Super Bowl, you have Josh Allen, so there can always be arguments made about playoff wins and losses and what they're capable of doing. We saw what happened with Tomlin stepping down. We saw Harbaugh, right? These owners are getting frustrated that they're not going to that tipping point of the Super Bowl. But the part for me, everybody talked about this as Josh Allen's, it's his best chance. It wasn't his best team. Like, they did not have the team. They didn't have the receivers. And if you look at, like, Beane's track record, I'm not sure why all of a sudden he gets elevated. I think he's drafted 2 Pro Bowlers.
Since Allen.
Okay, so this guy, and I said it before, Josh Allen's got to be Superman pretty much week in and week out for this team to win. Unfortunately, he didn't play well. But for Beane's elevation, that was the most shocking part for me.
When you have a player like Josh Allen, it's going to raise the expectations of everyone around you. So I think while I'm a little bit surprised they made this move, I understand them making a move. The shocking thing, I think your point is about the Brandon Beane being elevated, and it's a story as old as the NFL, is the general managers tend to have a better relationship with ownership. When there's a disappointment or a series of disappointments, someone has to pay. Normally, the general manager is there talking to the owner more often than the coach, and that decision is made. We saw Liam Cohen last year wouldn't take the Jags job unless there were changes made at that spot. You see, every time we have this come around, owner or coaches are very concerned about the ownership structure and who's going to be in the front office.
And that's why it took John Harbaugh so long to get his deal done with the Giants, until he made sure that he was dealing directly with ownership and not with the level in between with Joe Shane, who remains but obviously isn't in charge of him. So does the elevation of Brandon Beane, in your mind, make the Bills coaching? Look, on its face, you have a chance to coach Josh Allen. That's the best job that could possibly come open in the NFL. But does this make it less appealing?
I think it does. And I think in the sense of, you wonder when they move on from Sean McDermott, do you already have an idea of who you want to be next? Joe Brady is the offensive coordinator there. He's already been talked about as a head coach in NFL circles, has done interviews. So when you look at this and you say, all right, Brandon Beane's going to be elevated, you know he already has that relationship with Joe Brady. And I think on top of that, we're talking about this situation because of how good Josh Allen is. The fact that he has been with that offensive coordinator, they've had success as well. It almost makes sense to not allow Joe Brady to leave your building. You think about Liam Cohen with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was our offensive coordinator. He leaves to go to Jacksonville. Tampa Bay not having success. There was conversations about Todd Bowles. For Buffalo now, you move on from McDermott. Do you do that in order to elevate Joe Brady with the belief that he can win? You're only looking for 2 more wins from what Sean McDermott was doing.
What do we get a sense is going to be the deal there?
I think they're going to gather today and put together their list of candidates and start issuing the interview request. There's obviously a process and rules that have to be followed. You can't just elevate Joe Brady. So this will take a little bit of time. They're behind the 8 ball a little bit. Let's say they want to hire Vance Joseph from the Broncos or Davis Webb on Broncos staff. They can't talk to either one of those guys till next week, and that's only if the Broncos lose Sunday. If the Broncos were to win, then you can't talk to anybody on their team until after the Super Bowl. So the Buffalo Bills getting on this a couple weeks into the cycle does put them behind the 8 ball a little bit, unless the answer is going to be someone from their staff or someone from outside the organization.
The difference for me in the NFL and college is like, why are we hurrying? Like, we don't got to go recruit. Like, you know your team, right? Like, there's free agents that you know are going to come up. There's no, if you're an NFL team and Sean McDermott just came available, like, to hurry around and go sign guys and put coaches in places, like, take your time, take a breath.
Especially if you're keeping the front office intact, because if they're going to be making these decisions either way, you would want a coach whose mindset you could, or whose thought process you could pick from.
Right.
But it seems like Sean McDermott is going to be the decision maker. And with that extra power becomes, I think, the extra level of accountability. I don't think the next firing, if there is one, is going to be the coach. They're going to say, we've given you the leeway to go through a couple of coaches, and now it's on you.
And then the name Bill Belichick came up here yesterday from Rex Ryan, who has been telling me, I can tell you right now, privately, he has been talking about that for years. He thinks they are enamored of Bill Belichick in Buffalo.
Well, he certainly would know. Like he worked there, obviously, and with this ownership group. I would find it surprising because of what's going on with Belichick the last couple of years. I mean, in the last 3 NFL coach hiring cycles, he's interviewed with one team that didn't hire him, has since hired another coach and didn't interview him this time around. I think the bloom is off there a little bit, but it only takes one infatuated owner, so I guess we'll see.
The best performance this weekend.
Seattle Seahawks. There were 8 teams that played this weekend. I think one of them played very well, and it was the Seattle Seahawks. This game was over after the opening kickoff, and I'm not joking. The 49ers were absolutely out of dudes. It's a shame. They went very, very far. An impressive coaching job and performance by their players, but they ran up against a Seattle team that is rolling and was not messing around.
Is Seattle the best team left in the playoffs and now the favorite to win it all, Domonique?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think this season has been about defense. These playoffs have been about defense. So you know what that means? NFL's going to change the rules this offseason to make it easier for Jeff and his ilk.
That's exactly right.
Congratulations, defense. You've earned it.
Offensive holding, we're bringing it back. Let's go, bring it back.
So we agree they're the best team right now. Doesn't seem to be much question about that. Doesn't mean that they'll win it, but they look good. Jeff, what was the most surprising thing that you saw this weekend?
Oh, I'm going to go Dan Graziano wet blanket. I'm going Josh Allen.
Wow.
This is typically your role, Dan, and I'm just going to step in for a second.
Seahawks.
This was he played poorly. Like we can cut it all you want, and I talked about their defense the week before in Jacksonville, and all Bills Mafia got mad at me. This was Josh Allen. A lot of mistakes and big moments. The end of the first half, the fumble. I think he had 3 fumbles. They got 2 through 2 picks. Just uncharacteristic, obviously, but you got to hold him accountable. He didn't do his part for the Bills to advance.
Felt like it was the first time we've watched him in a playoff game, and he was the one to underperform it.
That's right.
So much was to be said about the Brandon Cooks. Was it a catch? Was it not a catch? Forget about all of that. Both interceptions, they were not good throws by Josh Allen. If he puts this ball 2 yards further, Brandon Cooks is still running and it might be a touchdown. The other interceptions from Key, he threw the ball late and inside. That one was intercepted. You already mentioned the fumbles. Josh Allen just was not good enough in that playoff game, and that's why the Bills were sent home.
Yeah, I thought the McMillan interception was impressive. I don't put that one on as Josh as much, but there were so many other turnovers to choose from. So, yeah, he had a bad game, which is so uncharacteristic of him. He's the one quarterback that you could argue has had one of the best postseason runs of anyone, and it's really disappointing for him, and he took responsibility. He's not afraid of accountability, but it's really disappointing considering when we look at this Final Four. I was one of the people that was saying this is not his best chance because this isn't his best team. Looks like this was the Bills' best chance to win a Super Bowl in recent history.
And you heard him say it after the game. You saw him tearful, Dan, after the game because he
tried his best.
And look, that's what happens. And every now and again, even the great players have a bad day. He picked a bad time to have a bad day.
You're Superman every time, and you're Jimmy Olsen once. We can forgive this. It's okay. You're too negative. You're too down on Josh.
There were other quarterbacks who had bad days and got away with it. So I think that's probably
that's the point, though. Maybe they had better teams, right? Like this Buffalo team, there weren't too many places to go.
I mean, to be fair,
he was going to have a bad game.
All guys Super Bowl runs, like most of them, there's some games that were won by their defense or won by a great special teams play. We wash it away and say it was a great run. He didn't have that luxury this time.
He did not.
In this case, however, if you watched that game absent any other knowledge of anything, you would emerge thinking Buffalo was definitively the better team and just gave it away, handed it away so many different times. and the quarterback goes to the center of that. And by the way, that's not an interception by McMillan, but that's a whole other conversation.
Oh my gosh, Michael Greenberg.
Oh, no. That is an absolutely.
We need a whole touchscreen of just that one
All
play
you guys
so we
want,
can fully
all you guys want
explain.
replay review to get everything exactly right, and then they actually do it.
Have to survive.
And we say, oh, no.
One person survived the ground, one did. This is the easiest
Survived
play.
the ground.
Yes.
That
When you
ball.
jump up to catch a ball, you have to catch it. If he falls down and the ball comes loose, no one would have complained that it was an incomplete pass.
That's right.
So the ball does come loose when he falls down.
But no, it can't be an incomplete pass because someone caught it. So if someone caught it, he caught it first.
The one
And
who
he was lying on the ground when he had it taken out of
Nah.
the
Hey guys, go ahead, Greedy, you right.
Yeah.
No,
You the host.
no.
Yeah.
I hate
there's
agreeing with defensive backs, and you're wrong.
There's some things that just aren't worth arguing. Like, if you thought that was a catch, there's nothing I could tell to disabuse you of that notion.
Well,
that
we
was obviously an interception.
We could go through the rules.
But you think he didn't do that yesterday?
Nick,
And the day before that?
You still argue with your wife, right?
No. I learned that lesson a long time ago.
Okay,
you're right.
So we
You're
accept I'm
Greedy.
right. J-Mac, who was the most disappointing this weekend?
We got to go all negative.
Yeah.
It was C.J. Stroud. The way he played 4 interceptions in the first half of that game. You think about the 2 playoff games he played in, 5 fumbles and 5 interceptions. On top of that, just the body language throughout the course of that game. At no point did he look like he believed he was going to be able to get this team over the hump.
Do the Texans need to think seriously? He's now through 3 years. They can pick up his 5th-year option. They could extend him beyond that if they want to. Do they need to think seriously about whether he's their quarterback of the future? Quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, what tells you different? The last 2, he had a great rookie year, but the last 2 years have been okay. I mean, you're talking about an investment of $50 million plus. At this point, I would definitely let him see another year before I would make a commitment like that.
Yeah, the money is going up and up for quarterback. It might be more than $50 million at this point, and you're locked in as far as quarterback's concerned. The scary thing about this decision is he also shows great ability in some of these games. So, like, he's someone who you don't want to let walk away because it might turn out well somewhere else. But also, in this game and in the playoffs right now, he hasn't looked very good.
Yeah, you pick up his 5th-year option. You don't have to pay him this offseason.
Right.
You pick up that 5th-year option. You let him continue to play. He's your starter right now.
They also re-signed Davis Mills during the season, extended him, so they'll have him there for a while. They could have considered going to him during that game. D'Amico Ryan said he never considered it.
Yeah, C.J. Stroud is their guy. He's 24 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we assume he'll get more consistent, but to your point, Jeff, there's no rush to do it right now. They have him for several more years.
Seems certain they'll pick up the 5th-year option.
A no-brainer.
And then we'll go from there.